All right, this is Group 4's presentation, and this week we are going to be looking at Chapter 10, which is focused on reference and master data. So by the end of this presentation, hopefully you will be able to identify business drivers, goals, and the key concepts related to reference and master data, discuss MDM and reference data activities, and summarize the different tools and techniques available to you as data governance stakeholders. All right, so we can start by looking at these two key terms, reference and master data. So reference data, to provide context, think of it as a fixed vocabulary that we are using across systems. An example of this that the text illustrates are country codes or currency codes. On the other hand, master data refers to critical business entities such as customers, products, suppliers, and such. The business drivers here are really focused on avoiding and reducing redundancy, improving our data quality, and supporting analytics and compliance. And our goal here is really information harmonization across our enterprise systems. You know, we're looking to maintain a single version of truth for those key data elements. All right, so now we can turn our attention to the various activities associated with reference and master data. So master data involves 4 critical activities that we want to always be considering, which include number 1, data modeling, which we're modeling in order to define the structure of our master entities. Integration, we're always working to reconcile and unify data across any of the various systems that we use at our organization. Third, data stewardship. So we want to make sure that we are ensuring accountability for the quality of the data we're using and creating. And then lastly, a big one, lifecycle management. We want to make sure that we are effectively governing how master data is created, how we update it, and then lastly, when we no longer need it, how do we retire it? Switching gears, now looking at the key activities associated with reference data. First and foremost is standardization. So we want to ensure that terms are used consistently across the institution. Validation, so we want to have validation rules in place in order to prevent invalid or obsolete codes from being used. And then lastly, version control. Reference data typically will change over time, and we need to make sure that we are updating it in sync across, again, all of our systems. Now we can look at the various tools and techniques that are available to us as data professionals, which can help us more effectively manage our master and reference data. And we won't look at any specific applications for the most part. Really, we're just looking at the functionality that's afforded by some. So first and foremost, integration tools. Various integration tools are available to us that will support the flow of data across our multiple systems. Remediation techniques. So we can use various remediation techniques to help identify and correct any quality issues with our data. Next, using some form of an operational data store or a data hub. These can serve as a centralized source for all of our data. Additionally, specialized MDM applications can provide capabilities like data matching or cleaning or some form of hierarchy management. So it's very important to choose the right combination of these, and it depends really on the maturity of the organization's data environment on how you structure and configure that. So next, we want to look at implementation. What are some guidelines that we want to adhere to in order to implement our master and reference data practices effectively at our organization? First, we want to ensure that we align with our enterprise master data architecture. We want to monitor any data movement to both ensure quality and also that we are meeting compliance standards. Third, we want to make sure that we are managing our reference data changes through strong version and communication control practices. And lastly, we want to make sure that we develop data sharing agreements that are going to clarify any responsibilities across departments. And these practices will really help mitigate any risk as well as build trust. So, dealing with organizational and cultural change. As we all know, data initiatives often fail not because of the technology adopted, but because of the lack of cultural support at the organization. So it's very important that we establish control and accountability early on. So this means assigning ownership for each data domain and providing the right level of governance and oversight. Stakeholders have to recognize that reference and master data are not just information technologies responsibility. It's not just institutional research's responsibility or another department's responsibility. They are strategic business assets. So this requires cross-functional collaboration and change management support. Okay, and finally, let's look at the last key component, reference and master data as it relates to governance. So here, metrics are playing a critical role in monitoring our success. And some of the big components here include data quality indicators, things such as accuracy, completeness, and timeliness. Usage metrics, which we can use to track how widely master data is adopted across all of our various systems. And lastly, compliance metrics, which we can use to ensure policies and standards are effectively being followed. And just one last note, it's important to know that effective governance is going to turn our MDM and reference data actions from a low-level tactical activity into a strategic advantage that's going to benefit the organization overall.